Tasha is checking in, y'all, with another video, and this video is going to be my weekly Tasha's topics, but we're just specifically going to focus on the Karmelo Anthony case. Okay, if it's your first time joining me, go ahead and like this video, comment in the comment section, and most importantly, subscribe to the Redefine Me channel. We have a good great time over here. Okay, y'all, now I'm probably going to work in a few more little things that I have heard, or actually one more thing I've heard at the end of the video, but primarily we're going to talk about the Karmelo Anthony case. Okay, in case you all have not heard, or you have been living under a rock or disconnected from social media, by now this case has received national recognition, okay? And I really hate the fact that it's received national recognition for something like this. I really wish we could have cases that are lighthearted, kids that are actually doing great things, who are getting like scholarships and awards and different things like that. I really wish that we could have that spotlighted, but unfortunately here we are, and we are dealing with this particular case. Okay, so if you have not heard, this happened on April 2nd in Texas, in Frisco, Texas, okay, between two 17-year-old teenagers, one named Karmelo Anthony, which is the person who committed the crime, and then the victim, who is Arthur Metcalf, who both are 17 years old, okay? They were at a school track meet, okay? There was a tent up over the bleachers, and Karmelo, who did not go to the school where the tent was up, he decided that he wanted to sit under the tent. Now, there are a lot of holes in this story, right? I get that, because some people are going to probably get in the comments and fill in little things that I leave out and say because it is this and this, and I get that. Like, we are getting bits and pieces of the story, but this is just a baseline of the story, okay? So he went under this tent. We are hearing because it was raining, and he went under the tent, and Arthur Metcalf proceeds to ask him, you know, what are you doing here? Who are you? You have to leave the tent, right? And so Arthur's brother, he has a twin brother. His brother came out, and his brother spoke and said, hey, everybody, hey, like up the video. We are discussing the Karmelo Anthony case. He was a Texas teenager, or he is a Texas teenager, who unfortunately unalived another 17-year-old teenager at a track meet recently. It happened on April 2nd. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Make sure y'all liking this video, and make sure you all are subscribing to the Redefine Me channel. Okay, so the Caucasian teenager, and this should not be about race, right? But Karmelo Anthony is an African-American young man, and Arthur Metcalf is a Caucasian individual, right? And so so the Caucasian individual asked for him to leave. He asked for him to leave their tent at the track meet. Karmelo said no. His brother came out and made a comment and said that Karmelo Anthony was saying some really crazy stuff, and that's why they were asking him to leave the tent. Now, fast forward, okay? So he went, as we all know, this story is nationally recognized at this point. He stabbed the young man, the Caucasian young man, in the chest and fled, and then admitted to doing it once police had got there, things of that nature. So he got locked up. When he got locked up and placed in jail, he was put on $1 million bond, okay? So a lot of people thought that that was extremely high. I was one of those people as well. However, this is where we are. So fast forward, as of Monday, which is Monday of this week, today is Wednesday, as of Monday, he was released from jail on bond, okay? His bond, his lawyer got the bond reduced to $250,000. So that's what the lawyer said he was going to do. That's the goal he was working on. And so he did get that bond reduced, okay? Now, here we get into the juice. And y'all gonna let me know what y'all think. Y'all may not like what I think. However, let's keep it respectful. And yeah, let's talk about it. So they got him out of jail, okay? He got out of jail. He is now at home with his family, right? A lot of people, including, excuse me, y'all, 1 second. my air likes to come on when I'm doing a video and make all this noise. So a lot of people feel like that he should not be out of jail. And one of those people that feel like he should not be out of jail is Arthur Metcalf's mother. She was very disappointed. She dropped her head and everything at the bond reduction hearing. And I don't blame her. You know, she just lost her son. Even if the media is trying to paint him as this bully or whatever he was in the moment, because we all don't know. There are still so many loopholes. As a mother myself, if someone killed my child, even if they were the aggressor in a situation, I would feel away as well. Okay, and I'm not saying that Arthur was the aggressor. I'm just saying that if this happened to me, I would feel away as well, right? Okay, so he is at home. He is on house arrest. He has an ankle monitor on. The 17-year-old boy has an ankle monitor on, and he is under the supervision of his parents. Now, when they started, or they tried to start a GoFundMe, Karmelo Anthony's family. And okay, well, go get some. The original. So Karmelo Anthony's family, they tried to start a GoFundMe. However, every time someone put one up and they tried to start it, someone would, the GoFundMe would come down, right? So they ended up going over to the app called Go. Hold on, let me make sure, because I had wrote it down. Hold on, y'all, I'm sorry. It was Give, Send, Go. So Give, Send, Go. They couldn't get the GoFundMe up for Karmelo, so they went over to another app called Give, Send, Go. And on this app, their quota was $350,000. So that's what they wanted to raise, right? So unfortunately, on the Give, Send, Go app, people actually start to donate to the Karmelo Anthony family. The goal was $350,000. However, they moved the goalpost to $500K. $500,000, they moved the goalpost. And now the amount given, that people have given, is over $431,000 to the family. Now, this is the person that committed the crime. People have given money to his family to the tune of $431,000. Now, Austin's family also had a GoFundMe. His GoFundMe stayed up, of course, because he's the victim. And it stayed up. They had a goal of $350,000, and they also moved the goalpost to $375K. Now, I don't know why on both ends that they are moving the goalpost. I do not know why they're moving the goalpost on how much money they're trying to raise for each individual. Now, you can look on one side of it and say Austin's family is raising this money to deal with their pain and suffering. Maybe they had to take off of work. Maybe they are grieving. Maybe they're trying to repair their lives because of everything, things of that nature, right? You could very well go and on that end with their family while they keep moving the goalposts on the money. On Karmelo's end, you could go with the idea that they're moving the goalposts on their Go Send Fund account because he needs defense team and all of that. Now, let me tell y'all, for all of y'all who donated to Karmelo Anthony, and I'm not hating, it's your money. You can do whatever you want to do with your money, right? But for all of you all who did donate, let me tell y'all what y'all have donated to for his family, okay? Now, let's get into the things of the things. The amount that is received right now is over $430,000, okay? Now, his father, now, a couple of things have happened. Let me go back. A couple of things have happened. Now, the bond was lowered. That's what his lawyer wanted. The bond was lowered to $250K, okay? Also, because Karmelo is 17 years old, under the Supreme Court law, they are going to try him as a minor, not an adult. So this could very well mean, and it does mean actually, that he would not be sentenced to death, the death penalty, and he would not get life in jail. So now that we understand that those are the possibilities, now I'm saying this now off of what information I have gathered. Now this information could very well change. I do not know, but as of right now, they are looking at charging him as a minor and not an adult. Now, that means, like I said, no death penalty, no life in jail. That's what I'm hearing right now. Now, things could change. I'm not sure, but that's what I got right now, okay? So, if that is the case, that means that he could be looking at anywhere from 15 to 20 years, in my opinion. Now, I am not a lawyer. I do not know. All I'm saying is that if life is off the table, if death penalty is off the table, he could be looking at 15 to 20 years, okay? Because they're trying him as a minor instead of an adult, which was shocking to me. I'm just going to be totally honest. It was shocking to me because he is African-American young boy. He did confess to committing this crime. He did throw the weapon, but they found the weapon, and he did have Arthur Metcalf's blood on his finger, right? So, and there were witness statements, right? So because of all of that, like all of that conglomerate of things, I was thinking they were going to try him as an adult, especially because he's closer to 18 than not, right? So the fact that they're not trying him as an adult is very interesting. And actually, I feel that is a good thing, honestly, that he's not being tried as an adult. Because I would say this, I am one of the black people that you will come across that is not going to amen everything my community does, right? Wrong is wrong and right is right. You know, we still have to gather all of the information we do. But I'm not going to sit back and say, oh my God, I'm on the side of Karmelo Anthony because of the mere fact that he's black. I'm not going to do that. That's not the way I rock. That's not the way I roll. I gather facts. I sit back. I digest it. I see how I feel about it. And no matter what the race is wrong, right is right. But there are a lot of people in this particular situation, a lot of African-American individuals who are jumping on the side of Karmelo Anthony specifically because of the fact that he's black. If this, and it's crazy because we have a lot of teenagers. Right now, Chicago is going through this thing where it's called violent black teenage summer season or something. So what happens is in Chicago, they are currently dealing with that. Every summer, African-American teenagers tend to go off committing crimes and things like that. Now, most of them could be in gangs and things of that nature. However, I just heard about that story maybe last week. And that is something that has been going on for a little while in Chicago. And nobody is up here spotlighting that and making sure that that gets handled and making sure that we help those African-American teenagers, right? But when this case comes up with an African-American teenager that committed a crime against a white teenager, now all of a sudden the black community is in an uproar. Well, we've been killing one another for a long time. And why are we not in an uproar about that particular situation? So that's what causes me to feel like, you know, this is turned into a race thing when it shouldn't be. It should be a crime thing. What happened in a situation? And like I said, we still have loopholes in the story, so we don't know. And I do feel compassion and bad for both sides of the fence because Karmelo made one decision that altered the rest of his life and the life of someone else's, their families and everything. And so it's sad all the way around. But we have to be honest and call a thing a thing. Like we can't sit back and say, okay, well, he was young or he was getting bullied or something was going on when it's just kind of like, come on, a thing is a thing. Call a thing what it is and just put it out there, okay? So if y'all want to know what y'all money went to, the people who donated to Karmelo Anthony's fund. Now, the dad has had to take a leave of absence from work, okay? I don't know if he took a leave on his own. I shouldn't be calling. All right, y'all, I'm back. I apologize. These telemarketers, man, I don't know how to stop them from calling and causing issues when I'm live. So anyway, Karmelo Anthony's father had to take a leave of absence from work. This is where you all's $431,000 has went, in case y'all wondering if y'all donated. And it's your world. You could do what you want. You could donate to who you want to donate to. He had to take a leave of absence from his job because he says that, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking he wants to be there for his family. He wants to be the protector, things like that. In my opinion, and y'all may throw tomatoes at me, I feel as if he should have continued to work for a couple of reasons. Number one, they currently live in Frisco, Texas, which is an affluent suburban neighborhood in the Dallas Fort Worth area, right? And so it's not like they are homeless and hurting for money. Now, that's number one. And this is all my opinion. I don't know these people personally. I could be totally wrong, right? But this is my opinion, so this is what is coming out. So they live in an affluent neighborhood, right? And so the mom of Karmelo Anthony does not work, and they also have 3 other children. So he decided to take a leave of absence from work. Now, what if people never came together to give a GoFundMe account for this situation? What would you do to cover the attorney fees, to get his bail paid, to continue on to live life, right? You would have had to continue to go to work. So I feel that he used this particular fund that has now accumulated such a large amount of money to say, well, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to not go to work, right? Okay, that's a theory where your money has gone to support their lifestyle now that he's decided to take a leave. Now, I know some people are going to be like, well, this situation is horrible. That's his son. He has a right to take a leave from work. Look at what's going on. I get that. But at the end of the day, how many parents of African-American kids that have got murdered, killed, that has got something done horribly to them, who has had to bury loved ones that are very close to them and had to continue to go on to work? Maybe they got a week off for grieving. Maybe they got a couple of days off for grieving, but they had to still go on and carry on and live life. So I'm not saying I'm not sympathetic to Karmelo's family and the father making that decision to have a leave of absence for work. But what I am saying is that you have 3 other children and a wife that you have to take care of as well. And I feel that this account that raised this large amount of money now really had him thinking like, okay, I'm gonna just stay off from work for a little bit. That's my theory, number 1. Number 2, your money, where it went. So they said that they have to get a security detail for their family because there has been like death threats and different situations like that. Now, I'm not saying this hasn't happened. Trust me, because some people out here are crazy. And so I believe that some people may have sent Karmelo's family death threats, may have been doing certain things to the family, right? And so because of these people doing all of this heinous stuff, they have said that we're using this money that you all donated to us to also secure security detail because it's not cheap. Then they go and say they're using the money also for Karmelo Anthony's defense team. Now, this is where it's tricky because they're saying they're using it for the defense team, but his lawyer came out and said that the money that was donated and raised was not for his bail. Now, defense team and bail, 2 totally different things, right? I get that. You're paying the lawyers with the money. That's a defense team, and the bail is what you need to get out of jail and everything like that. However, all of that to me falls under the umbrella of his defense because you want to pay the bail to get him out of jail, right? So they use the money for his defense team, and or they say they use it for his defense team, not the bail. I believe that's a lie. I believe you can't tell me that if people donated $400-something thousand, and I don't know if you have to take it all out at once or if they still have it in there and they're taking it out in spurts or what's going on. But you can't tell me that if you had that much money and you have a bail that has been reduced to $250K and you have to pay 10% of that. So what's that, $20,000? I believe that they use some of that money. Now, I didn't look up GoFund Send. I don't want to make go give send go. I didn't look up give send go, and maybe y'all can let me know in the comments. But do you have to take all the money out at once, or can you take it out in spurts? I'm not sure. And so that's what they're saying some of the money is going towards as well. Not his bail, which I think is a lie, but it's going towards his defense team, security detail on the family, and I think to keep up with their lifestyle because the father had to leave his job. Now, the next thing they're saying the money is going to be used for, they're saying that they have to move. So they're going to move to a different neighborhood or different house because of all of the attention that they're gathering from this situation. Now, they do live, though, in a gated community. And I'm thinking to myself, now, I've never been to their community. I don't know how it looks, right? But they live in a gated community. And I'm thinking to myself, so are your neighbors riding by, like painting racial slurs on your door, throwing stuff at you all, cursing you out? What's going on to the tune where you all now have to use some of this money that people have donated to now move? So this is where y'all money going, because I didn't donate to Karmelo Anthony's fund, right? But whoever did, and I don't want to say y'all as if everybody did, but whoever did, this is where the money is going that they're claiming that they're using, okay? As of right now, the judge even asked, why didn't y'all use some of the money to bail him out of jail? Like, I think when the money started to creep up and his bond was still set at $1 million, the judge was probably trying to figure out, why didn't y'all use some of that money, right, to go ahead and bail him out of jail? Now, I don't know. The answer was that the dad was saying that they needed the money for all the other things that I just listed. So that is what's going on. That is the update on the Karmelo Anthony case and the Arthur Metcalf. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I've said my piece on it. Even on my TikTok, I've said my piece on it. And I got a lot of backlash from my comments because I was just kind of like, this is a horrible situation, no matter which way you slice it, right? And we do still have some loopholes in the story, but the bottom line, the baseline of it all is that he did commit a crime. He did. Whether the guy was bullying him, whether the guy had a right to get up in his face and ask some questions and all of that, which I do not agree with. He committed a crime, and in this country, you commit a crime, you have to pay for said crime. Does that mean that he deserves life in jail? I don't believe he deserves life in jail, right? Some people may feel differently because they feel like, well, he took a life, he deserves to get his life taken, right? But I do not believe that he deserves life. Right. I just don't believe that. But however, I do believe that he did commit a crime and he does need to pay for said crime, and he will pay for said crime. There are some delusional people, though, that feel like that he's not going to do any time, that he very well can get off because they reference other cases like what's the guy named Rittenhouse, Kyle Rittenhouse case, and they reference other cases and they says, well, they got off. This is what happened with them. So he is likely going to get off. People who feel that way, they need to come out of delusion land. The bottom line is this: we live in the United States of America. If you are in the United States and you're watching this, you live in the United States of America, one of the most racist countries, right? And not because of what people may think, but just because of the history of this country. It's very racist, and until the end of time, it's going to probably be that way. Even if we have evolved, right? And we have, because now you have people who are getting in relationships and marrying and having children of mixed race. You have people who have friends that are of different races. So we have come a long way. However, it is still racist in this country. When the rubber meets the road and it comes down to it, if you are an African American that has white friends, or if you are a Caucasian white person that has black friends, when a situation like this comes down to it, have a conversation in the group and see what happens, because it's going to be some opinions that may ruffle some feathers and may cause you to question your friendship, right? And that to me means that yes, there can be differences of opinion, but that speaks to the volumes that there is still a highly sensitive racial issue within the United States, right? I love everybody. I don't have no issue with nobody. Even if you have an issue with the color of my skin, or even if you have an issue with my community of people, I don't have an issue with anybody, because at the end of the day, I can't change the color that I was born in no more than you can change the color that you were born in, right? But at the end of it, what about humanity? Okay. And a lot of people of my culture has come out and forgotten that this boy that's my color killed another boy that's another color that has his color, the boy that has been unalive, has stirred up his ancestors a lot of issues within my community for years and years and years and years, right? And so I get how people are just on edge whenever it comes to that group of people. However, at the end of the day, we're all human, and right is right and wrong is wrong. It's just the end. It's just, that's the bottom baseline. Now, Karmelo is innocent until proven guilty, right? However, you are innocent until proven guilty, but if you confess to the police that you did it, I'm kind of like, does that rule still apply? Are you still innocent until proven guilty if when the police roll up on you and it's like, I had the alleged suspect, and you go and say, I'm not alleged, I actually did it, I don't think you can play that card innocent until proven guilty anymore, right? Now, what you could play the card is that more facts are going to come out, that all the facts is not out and have not been seen, right? So you could very well play that card and say, you know what, y'all gonna find out why I did what I did, and y'all gonna find out that it's not what it seems, okay? And even if we find out that Arthur Metcalf and his brother was walking around being big bad bullies under the tent, the bottom line is you still stabbed him in the chest. And at the end of the day, some people are trying to paint self-defense, right? So we're going to run with the self-defense narrative. The definition of something being self-defense is that you have to feel like your life is in danger and that you are that is between you and the other person, basically. And if that's not the case, then self-defense should not be claimed. Now, some people may say that this is a punk way out of what I'm about to say. However, if he would have took this road, then he would have not been in jail right now, and Arthur Metcalf would have still been alive, and we would not even be talking about this right now. But if Karmelo Anthony took the higher road when Arthur came to him and said, "What you doing on this tent? You can't be here, blah, blah." If he would have said, "Oh, my bad," and went on and ran to another tent or went somewhere else, we wouldn't be here right now. Or if he would have said, went to an adult, because I'm still trying to figure out where the adults were in this whole scenario. Like, where were the track coaches? Where were the parents? Where was everybody that was old enough to get control of this altercation? So if Karmelo would have done a couple of things, if he would have went to an adult and said, "Hey, it's raining. Can I sit here until it stops raining? Then I can leave." I'm pretty sure an adult would have been like, "Sure, sit there, when it stops raining, you can go." Now, on the other side of the fence, if Arthur Metcalf would have just sat down, minded his business, and not approached this person, then he would have probably still been alive. We wouldn't have had this issue going on. However, we don't know, because we also do not know what was in the mind of Karmelo Anthony. I believe they knew each other, and this is why this confrontation erupted, and this is why Arthur Metcalf felt comfortable with saying something to Karmelo Anthony, and this is why Karmelo Anthony probably felt comfortable, doing what he did to him, because I don't believe in my heart of hearts, and I could be totally green and naive with saying this, I don't believe that you just stab a random person that you just don't know. Now, there are people out here who are evil and who do that, right? I'm not saying that they don't, but I just don't believe that a 17-year-old will stab a random person that they do not know at all. So I do believe this narrative of them not knowing each other is false. I believe that they do. They both play football, and I believe that maybe they have seen each other, maybe in passing at games, or maybe they have heard about each other or something to that degree, right? It has to be something with them. It can't be so cut and dry, like people are trying to think, oh, this random boy just went under this random school tent and randomly stabbed a person that he doesn't know, and then say that the person is bullying him. But why? It just, to me, doesn't add up a little bit. Something is off about the whole case, and there's a lot of holes. However, as this case goes on, I'm pretty sure those loopholes will be filled in, right? But at any rate, we're going to see what happens. But the bottom line is he's out of jail. His bond was reduced to $250. He is now on house arrest with the ankle monitor on. I don't know if this is going to go to trial or when he's going to be back in court, but I'm pretty sure that we're going to find out about it. People are going to be reporting about it because this has become an extremely hot topic. And so I will be here to cover all of the things that are going on with this case. And if you all want to hear more about me covering the things, because I'm going to stay on this case and give you all the different levels and things that happen within this case. If you all want to get that from me, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and go ahead and hit that like button and become a part of the Redefine Me family, and you will be alerted. And make sure your notification bell is on, and you can stay abreast on what's going on, because some people are not even following the case. Like, I still talk to people now to be like, no, I haven't heard of this. And I'm like, where have you been? But again, if you do not, some people just stay off of social media because there's so much going on, and I get it because it can be very overwhelming. It can be very take you to a place where you don't want to be at. So some people have not heard of this story yet, and so if you all, I'm going to continue to give you all moment by moment breakdown and updates as it comes to me. And if you want to hear that type of stuff, go ahead and click the subscribe button. Okay, I'm going to talk about one other story that's not related to this particular case, but let's talk about it. So y'all know that some SpaceX woman's crew, right, was supposed to go up in space, which I don't even think they hit space. It seems like they hit the atmosphere and turned around. Now, this is why I say this. Now, we get a video, right, of all of the women from the SpaceX crew. They're all walking onto the spaceship. They're ringing the bell as they're walking onto the spaceship, right? When we got to Gayle King, Gayle's face looked like she was like, I don't even know why I let these people talk me into doing this. She looked like she was ringing the bell out of fear and out of the fact that she didn't really want to be there, right? And I was just thinking to myself, Gayle, why you let these people talk you into this? You should have followed your heart and stayed on the ground, right? However, they went ahead, got on this spaceship. Y'all, the spaceship went up and they stayed up there for what? 10 minutes, 11 minutes? Now, please somebody tell me, was this just a test run? I just don't get it. I have never heard of anyone going up into space or supposedly going up into space and staying there for like a 8-minute journey. Like, what the heck? You didn't even hit space in that time. You probably hit the atmosphere. Now, my theory is this, and y'all probably gonna be like, really? My theory is that Gayle was on that spaceship acting like a 2-year-old toddler, and they said, you know what, we can't do this. And then U-turned in the air and came back down. That's my theory. It could be totally wrong. Because I wasn't on the spaceship, right? But I'm just kind of thinking to myself, how in the world y'all do a space exploration, and y'all was supposed to, they gave all this hype about SpaceX testing. Remember, Elon Musk was testing all these spaceships, and they was blowing up, and they wasn't being properly tested, right? Now they finally got one. They got the crew together. They ringing this bell. They got on the little space suits and stuff, only for them to go up for what, 8 to 10 minutes? I was just kind of like, what kind of crap is that? They didn't even get to space. They got to the atmosphere. That's where they got in the air, and they came back. So I don't know. I'm gonna keep y'all abreast on that story too. I do not know if that was a test run and if they're going to go back up into space or what else is going on. But I just want to tie that story into this particular story that I talked about as well. I was just going to give Karmelo Anthony's case its own vibe, but I wanted to tie that in too because that also was something that just happened, and I wanted to kind of take the edge off with this case and throw in that story as well. Okay, so thank you all for joining me. This is not my normal time that I do Tasha's Topics. However, I have a prior engagement that is going on this evening, and I need to be there. So I wanted to come out and do this a little earlier and give you all my thoughts on this particular case. Okay, so thank y'all for joining me. Go ahead and click the like button. Go ahead and click the subscribe button. And replay watchers, go ahead and comment in the comment section. What do you all think about his bond being reduced? What do you all think about the family using the money for what they're using it for that I outlined in the video? What do you all just think about this case? I believe this case is going to keep rolling on until probably next year sometime. I don't know when they're going to kick it off and start it, but I know right now that his family is probably soaking up all the time that they can with Karmelo Anthony, because whether people like it or not, he's going to end up doing some time. Now, he may not do all of the time that, people are thinking in their minds, but he's going to do some time. And so if I was the family members, I would be trying to take advantage of the time with him, because the judge did reduce the bond. And I meant to say this, she did reduce the bond based off the fact that he is a minor, he's never been in trouble before, and the bond was really high for someone who had never been in trouble before, right? So she reduced it on those terms, and so I do agree with her on reducing the bond, right? But we're going to see what happens in this case. Y'all let me know y'all comments. Please, in the comment section, please be respectful of everyone. We are all adults. We all can absolutely be able to communicate with one another on an adult level about a hot topic. So please be respectful in the comments. And I'm going to go ahead and see y'all later. Let me go ahead and get that off of here. All right, y'all. I love y'all so much. Thank you all for joining me. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you click the subscribe button. Make sure your notification bell is on and like this video. All right, y'all. I love y'all.